we did an online survey for parents to fill in after they'd watched it, and one of the really clear things that came from that is that the reason that they were watching, or the most important element for them, was the interaction. So they didn't just want to watch a film, they needed it for their children to be interactive too. So that was really interesting, because I didn't know how important that was going to be before that survey. I also think that we could have made it shorter, actually. So our real life show had been 40 minutes, which for the age group was about appropriate. And then when we transferred it to digital, we cut that down to 30 minutes. But actually now, I think that probably 30 minutes is even a bit too long. And I think that the maximum length that most digital products for children and families seem to be is about 20. I'd say between 10 and 20 seems good. So that was quite interesting as well. I think there's less of a feeling, you know, when you go to the theatre, you sort of want to go and have a trip out and you want your money's worth. You want to stay for a good amount of time. If you're in your own home, that feeling doesn't really exist so much. So that was really interesting. And the other thing that I sort of learned is about the different expectations between theatre and TV. And I'm not saying that what we made was TV, but we do view it in a different way. So with TV, things move much more quickly. And that's partly due to the editing. So when I was a children's TV presenter, I remember Paul talking about latest possible in, earliest possible out. So that's like when you're in the editing process, don't have like a kind of 3-second gap before anything that happens. You know, you go straight to the moment when something starts happening, and then as soon as it's finished happening, that's when you cut as well. Whereas in theatre, we tend to give things a little bit more time. And what was interesting for me was the first time our two performers watched the filmed version, they said, I think they were a bit worried, and they kind of said, you know, all that, you know, it felt very quick. And that's true for them, because they knew the show so well. All of those kind of pauses and that sort of moments that you have to soak things in had gone. But actually for our audience, I think that those moments were sort of still there when you compare it to TV. So again, some of the feedback was about how people really liked the more gentle pace. It wasn't as fast paced as TV. So somehow we were kind of finding a bit of a middle ground where we weren't in theatre world anymore, but it's still much more gentle than what you might expect from kids TV. And I think this middle ground is the place that I'm really interested in exploring. So we've learnt a huge amount, really, and I think my advice for people who are thinking about making digital work is just to really concentrate on this middle ground. So it's not live performance, or it's not theatre anyway. It might be live on Zoom, but it's not theatre. And it's not TV or film. So therefore, what is it? There is a whole world to be discovered here. And for me, this is really a new art form. Something that was also surprising was that, well, surprising and not surprising, compared to our experience with Oh No George, where we had so many views, the views on this were like significantly lower, sort of more like around 100 households per booking. And when I thought about that, I thought, yeah, actually, that kind of feels right, because we're in this new territory now. And if what we're doing is developing a new art form, then surely that is going to take time to grow. You know, people aren't going to come flocking to something that they don't understand initially. So I think that we need to allow that time to grow. We need to get better about talking about what this art form is. I'm not really convinced that digital does it justice, but it'll do for now, I guess. But, you know, for you, if you're thinking about making it, how can you make it different to both those things? And I think that there's so much still to be discovered, that I think it's a really exciting journey. And I look forward to seeing whatever you make.